Well, in my case, it was interesting. Of course, it was during the Vietnam era, and I would have gotten drafted if I didn't decide to do something about it. I actually went in the Navy because in my thought process, I didn't want to go to Vietnam. So I figured, like most people, don't know or think there wasn't submarines in Vietnam. So I went first to San Diego for boot camp, and after boot camp I went to storekeeping school in San Diego. I volunteered for submarines, and I always say this, back then, I don't know about now, first of all, it's all volunteer. You have to volunteer to be in a submarine. And my thought was that the first thing that they do is send you a psychiatrist. My theory is that they just want to make sure you really are crazy. And, you know, once I volunteered, of course, I went up to Groton, Connecticut, to sub school, New London, and ended up graduating from sub school. Training was really comprehensive. There was a lot of book knowledge that you had to study, but there was also things like you had to swim up through the tower, which was like 50 feet of water that you had to, get in the chamber. They equalized the water with the depth, and they let you out. There were divers periodically in the tank, and you had to actually blow out so that in order to expend the air in your lungs, or your lungs would have burst from the pressure of the water. So the other thing that the other test they did was put you in a chamber, and basically it was to test your ears, and they pressurized the chamber to say if you could stand without the pressure from if you were down in a submarine. Yeah, and you did have some people that, the blood came out of their ears and so forth. When I was going through all that, the statistic was that only 50% of the participants, students, made it through sub school. And then, again, I was thinking I was get out of the fact of going to Vietnam, so they always give you a wish list. So when I graduated, I put 3 boats that were all East Coast boats, submarines, as my recommendation for where they should send me. Of course, the military doesn't care what you do. So the first submarine I got assigned to was in the Philippines. So it was home port in the Philippines, and of course you can guess where that was going to go.
What was the name of that boat?
The USS Perch 313, APSS 313. So the submarine, first of all, was an old World War II boat that was built for World War II, diesel electric, and 300 feet long, held a crew of about 80. So it was a little bit tight quarters, and that submarine didn't have torpedo tubes fore or aft. Had no torpedo tubes at all. What it was designed to do was carry troops. So we carried Marine Recon, Special Forces, and UDT, which is the Underwater Demolition Team, etc. and that was the operations that we did in Vietnam then, because that boat would go to Vietnam, and we would, work with the different SEALs and UDT and so forth. And actually, I got an email one time from one of the SEALs that thanking us for our assistance. So I also have, which I shouldn't have, I have pictures of one of the operations where we were actually helping Vietnam regulars, Republic of Vietnam individuals get off the beach because they were under fire on the beach, and we went in there, and it's crazy. We took every weapon that we had on the boat. We broke out to help the Vietnamese off the beach, that they were being attacked by the Viet Cong. And I even have a picture of a plane dropping napalm along there to try to discourage the Viet Cong. And those pictures are a little interesting because we were definitely a ragtag army, because our dress was cutoffs and shorts and sandals on those boats. And so there we are fighting and manning weapons and in cutoff sandals and etc. That boat still had from World War II the 40 millimeter mount. So we actually used that in that operation also. The target that we used, there was a church in the distance which we would lob shells towards, near the church, because we were told that the Viet Cong were there. So that was the first boat I was on that was designated for Vietnam. The next one was the USS Tunny 280 APSS 282. The reason that was because the USS Perch was having mechanical problems and couldn't dive anymore. So a submarine that can't dive is pretty worthless.
It's just a boat.
It's just a boat. And so what they did was half the crew from the Perch went to the Tunny and vice versa, because what the idea was, they wanted individuals that were familiar with the operations in Vietnam, plus they wanted individuals that were qualified on the Tunny. So that mixture, worked. And on that boat, we definitely made, again, runs to Vietnam. We would go up the rivers or bays and so forth, dropping off the UDT or special forces, etc. One of the things in combat engagements, I manned the 50 caliber machine gun. So I was up topside with the 50 caliber. So I always say the toughest thing about manning the 50 caliber was dragging it up through the hatch before I mounted it. I would have help. I'd be at the bottom and someone would be at the top to grab the muzzle and bring it on up. So it took two of us to get it out to the top of the submarine.